it! Get the hell out of there!
Run!
The original Dead Space, released in the fall of 2008, became one of the industry's most acclaimed survival horror video games of all time. But during its earliest phases of production, EA had actually developed so much more than just a game.
In making the original Dead Space, one of the things we needed to do was really sit down and figure out everything in the universe.
We needed a big haunted house to be in for Dead Space. We're like, well, how did the house come to be there and come to be haunted?
We didn't want to just say we have markers, we have necromorphs. We really needed to establish, well, why? Why are these things in the game?
As a result of answering those questions, an entirely new chapter of science fiction was written.
We created a massive timeline that had a ton of detail.
That detail included the Ishimura, the planet-cracking vessel that provided Dead Space with its proverbial haunted house, and the necromorphs, the creatures responsible for its haunting.
Because we had so much backstory that we had made to just get us to the haunted house of the Ishimura, we realized, wow, we want to tell this, we want to get this out there.
We realized, hey, we've got a lot of stuff here that we could, tell stories with.
With a highly detailed backstory firmly established, halfway through the production of Dead Space, EA and Visceral Games did something completely unprecedented in the gaming world. Instead of waiting on the game's profits to determine brand potential, they decided they would launch Dead Space as a complete franchise from the start. The game would be the crown jewel, supplemented with prequel stories for a comic series and Dead Space Downfall, a fully animated feature film.
What secrets do you have for us?
And now that same multimedia franchise tradition continues. Dead Space 2 hits stores today, along with a brand new graphic novel and the all-new animated film, Dead Space Aftermath.
If you love sci-fi, if you love horror, then you'll love them. And I think, with Dead Space Aftermath, you just will really appreciate the story. It's not a normal animated feature.
What happened to all the bodies?
They changed. They want you both dead! He's what are you doing?
Typically in the US, most animation is geared toward a younger audience. Dead Space was one of the first that really came out with just all-out horror in animation.
Run!
This was a chance to take the best of the anime studios that we work with and actually blend it into a very American way of storytelling.
But no Dead Space story would exist today if it weren't for the highly crafted science fiction that gave birth to the entire franchise.
It's like every movie and every comic book and every video game is a puzzle piece for this larger sort of tapestry, which is the Dead Space universe. And I think fans want that.